So news of this just came out yesterday at the time of this recording. It was supposed to be a normal day of fishing for Philip Morfin, but then he reeled in something horrific. At a pond in West Valley City, Utah, Morfin was checking the shoreline when he spotted something that looked like a skull. First he thought it was from an animal, but then he looked closer and noticed the unmistakable human eye sockets staring back at him. Morfin immediately contacted the police, and when they arrived, they confirmed that it was indeed a human skull. And when they continued searching the area, they found more bones, some partially submerged in the water. Investigators haven't determined the identity of the bones or how long the remains have been there. As of now, the case is still under investigation, with forensic teams working to piece things together. So whether this was an accident or foul play, it's still unknown. This next case is also super recent. News just came out earlier this month. So on March 7th, a group of fishermen were out about 40 miles off the coast of Boston. They were hauling in their nets when they realized there was something tangled in their gear. It wasn't a fish, it was the last thing anyone would want to find, a wrapped up, decomposing body. They immediately contacted the US Coast Guard, and the Massachusetts State Police took over the investigation. They didn't know who the person was, how they ended up in the water, or even how long they'd been there. As one official put it, no conclusions at this point. The Office of the Chief Medical Examiner is conducting an autopsy. That may help provide some answers. Well, those answers came a few days later. Turns out the body actually belonged to a woman in her 60s who'd been embalmed and had cancerous tumors. That detail changed everything. The Suffolk County District Attorney's Office determined she'd been legally buried at sea, which is actually allowed under certain conditions. So they closed the case, calling it non-suspicious. But that doesn't make it any less grim. Russian fisherman Roman Fedortsov has seen things most of us wouldn't believe. Bizarre deep-sea creatures that look like they were spawned from an alien. And, well, take a look at this freaky thing. Yeah, just what in the hell is that? Turns out this is a creature called a smooth lumpsucker, and I don't think there's ever been a time where an animal's name has fit so perfectly. When Fedortsov pulled it up, he did what he always does. He snapped some pictures and a video and posted it on Instagram, where people immediately started comparing it to everything from sci-fi aliens to mutated Pokemon. The fisherman who works on a trawler based out of Murmansk regularly shares his discoveries from the deep sea, where the pressure is high, the light is almost non-existent, and evolution has taken some seriously weird turns, as you can see. Now, many of these creatures suffer from barotrauma when brought to the surface, meaning their eyes bulge, their bodies swell up, and their organs sometimes just explode, and that's why some of them look weirder out of the water than they do in their natural habitat. So imagine pulling up a shark, a pretty decent catch, but then when you cut into it, you find something absolutely horrifying inside. Well, in 2024, fishermen in East Timor hauled in a shark. When they cut it open, they made a gruesome discovery. There were human remains in its stomach. According to reports, the body parts were suspected to belong to an American tourist who'd gone missing during a diving trip in Indonesia. The tourist had been swept away by strong currents. Now, this isn't the first time sharks have been found with human remains inside, but it never gets any less disturbing. These predators don't typically hunt humans, but if a body ends up in the water, a shark isn't going to pass up an easy meal. In 1996, the F-174, a ship carrying migrants, sank off the coast of Portopalo, Italy. There were only 30 survivors. The rest of the passengers, around 283, sank with the ship. That same year, fishermen off the coast of Portopalo, Italy started pulling up more than just fish. At first, it was just a body part here, a piece of clothing there. Then entire corpses started showing up in their nets. Now, instead of reporting these gruesome finds, most of them did something unthinkable. They threw the bodies back. Now, they weren't just being callous, they were afraid. If they reported the bodies, their boats could be seized for investigation, their livelihoods put on hold indefinitely, so they made the decision to keep quiet. Then in 2001, fisherman Salvatore Lupo found a body part with an ID card. When he alerted the authorities, they didn't take him seriously. They didn't want to deal with the mess or lose their fishing season, so they just ignored the reports. Journalist Giovanni Maria Bellu eventually investigated the wreck and filmed the site using an underwater vehicle in 2001. The footage showed the damaged ship with skeletons still inside, but since the ship sank in international waters, Italian authorities couldn't really do anything about it, and for years the disaster was buried. And when the story started to come out, many people, especially in the fishing community, weren't too thrilled. Some even blamed those who tried to expose the truth, thinking it would ruin their town's reputation. Now, what's the creepiest creature you can picture pulling up while fishing? Does it look anything like this? Well, if this is what you're imagining, then be glad you're not this next guy. A fisherman was left terrified after encountering a strange sea creature while fishing in southern Thailand on November 30th of 2020. Desha Srichai pulled in this icky-looking creature with long, spindly black legs that moved like a spider. He was shocked to see it among the fish and quickly recoiled in horror, throwing the net to the ground. He poked the creature with a stick before deciding to capture the moment on his phone. At first I thought it was just a twig, but then the thing started to move. I was scared and leapt back, Desha said. He showed the footage to his friends who helped him identify it. It's believed to be a dark black feather starfish, and these things really do seem like alien creatures, not just because of how creepy they look, but get this, if those spindly arms are cut, they can regenerate. Kill it with fire. Now he didn't though, he did the right thing and just knocked it back into the water with the stick. This news just came out the other day. Off the coast of the Philippines, fishermen made an unexpected discovery when they hauled in this mysterious ocean predator with large eyes. Originally intended for a local fish market, the creature caught the attention of visiting scientists, and it turned out to be a first of its kind find. And it wasn't the only one. The researchers were focused on cartilaginous fish like sharks and rays. They were buying specimens directly from fishermen to study. Over 2 years, they managed to document 14 different species, including a sandbar shark, which was a big deal. This was the first verified sighting of this species in the Philippines. Sandbar sharks are vulnerable to overfishing, so it was important to get the data. They also found a pair of Philippine guitarfish, which are critically endangered, and a few other species they hadn't come across before. So overall, a pretty successful 2-year study. From a now deleted Reddit user comes the story of the black shape in the fog. I've been wanting to share this for a while. It happened a few years ago when I was working as a deckhand on a fishing boat off the coast of Alaska. We were about 30 miles off, and it was one of those mornings where the fog is so thick you can barely see a few feet in front of you. Anyway, we were hauling in a net when I noticed something odd. At first I thought it was just the fog playing tricks, but then it started to come into focus, an enormous black shape, slowly coming out from the mist. It didn't look like anything I'd ever seen before. It was massive and totally out of place, just suspended in the water, not really moving at all. The whole crew noticed it and just froze. We didn't know what we were looking at. It wasn't a boat or a whale or anything that made sense. It was like a shadow, but solid. It felt like it was watching us too. Then just as quickly as it appeared, the fog cleared a bit and it was gone. It was like it disappeared into thin air. I've never been able to explain it, and no one on the boat could either. I still get chills thinking about it. Next up is the Cabagon, a mysterious sea creature believed to live in the Antarctic waters near New Zealand. Weird thing about the Cabagon is that no one has ever seen its full body, only its head. But this head, if it really is a head, is described as being pretty strange. Large, bulbous, with 2 big round eyes and a set of nostrils, or maybe another set of eyes underneath. The most famous sighting happened on April 28th of 1974. The Japanese fishing crew were out near the Littleton Peninsula, and around 7 p.m. the entire crew, all 28 of them, saw the creature's head pop out of the water. It was about 1.5 meters tall, and it just hung around for a bit, almost like it was checking them out. After a while, it dove back into the ocean. The captain was so rattled by the experience, he made a sketch of the creature, which hit newspapers. Eventually, Eventually, the mysterious creature was dubbed the Cabagon, meaning hippo monster. A fisherman named Max Manus made a chilling discovery last year while out fishing with friends off the coast of Florida. They spotted this small, upturned blue boat drifting alone in the middle of the ocean. He posted a video of the find on TikTok. It turned out the boat had been abandoned after a group of 8 fishermen ran into trouble around 55 kilometers offshore. The boat capsized, and the crew used an EPIRB, or emergency position indicating radio beacon, to alert the Coast Guard. They spent around 3 hours in the water clinging to an esky before being rescued. Luckily, no injuries were reported. By the time Max and his friends found the boat, it had been adrift for a few days. They were about 80 kilometers out from Venice Beach, Florida, when they came across it. It was an eerie thing to come across, but at least this story ended happily.
Coming in at number 10, the stoplight loosejaw. Found scattered in the depths of just about every ocean around the world, these slimy black creatures with beating red eyes should have truly never been brought into the light of day. On top of its tiny insect-like frame, the stoplight loosejaw also has long, creepy, needle-like teeth, but its real claim to fame is its huge jaw that can measure up to a quarter of the creature's length. Strangely, there is no actual floor to the jaw, but this is to reduce water resistance so that it can snap shut quickly, capturing its prey in milliseconds. Due to this terrifying swiftness, they are also sometimes called rat trap fish. Oh, and remember those pointy needle teeth? Well, because there is no flesh to enclose their wide hinging jaw, the teeth serve almost as spears to pierce through their prey before swallowing them whole. I'm just crossing my fingers that I don't get reborn as a bottom feeder in my next life, because I never want to come into contact with these fish for as long as I live. Next up at number 9, the black scabbard fish. A deep sea predator, this creature had fishermen confused when they first found it, as no one could agree what the heck it was. With a strangely elongated body and large fang teeth protruding from its snout, it looks like some hybrid of the alien from the Alien movies and an ancient eel. Generally, they are found just west of the British Isles and known to eat many different kinds of fish, crustaceans, and cephalopods, though their favorite is apparently the blue whiting. Now, if you ever find yourself visiting France or Spain, watch out, because these eel monsters are considered a delicacy and quite often consumed. But due to their diet, you run the risk of parasitic infection if not cooked properly. So just think twice before you take your chances, or you might be looking like some strange alien creature if you aren't careful. Coming in at number 8, the rat tail. Also sometimes referred to as grenadiers, these Arctic deep-sea creatures are unlike any other. For starters, they've got giant eyes and big swollen lips that hang from their underside, rivaling even the best lip filler you can get on land. Their head is the largest part of the fish, and the body slims gradually as it goes down the tail, giving them kind of a giant creepy tadpole vibe, measuring about a meter in size. Rat tails also have a light delivering organ called photophores found near the rear end, but scientists have no real clue what its exact purpose is, but it's thought that they use the light to search for food in the deep dark ocean. Despite their creepy exterior, they have been known to be found in seafood markets or even restaurants, but as for me, I think I will be steering clear from eating anything described as a rat or a tail. Next up at number 7, the chimera. With distant relations to sharks, these fish are often referred to as ghost sharks, rabbit fish, rat fish, or even spookfish. The strange alien-like species looks kind of like spooky underwater robots, as they have these unique lines all over their body that, to me at least, kind of look like pieces of welded metal. Found in almost all the world's oceans, excluding the Arctic, the chimera are completely scaleless, similarly to sharks, and on their dorsal fin have a highly venomous spine for protection. And if a scaleless, venomous deep-sea creature wasn't enough for you, to top it off, male chimeras are known to have a retractable, intimate appendage located on their forehead. Now, if that doesn't scream science fiction, then I don't know what will. In the past, these cartilage creatures were hunted for their liver oil, as it was commonly used as a lubricant for guns, but thankfully this is no longer a common practice. So let's just all agree to leave these creepy robot ghost sharks in the deep sea, and we'll all be better off. Next Next up, in our number 6 spot, the wolfish. This deep sea creature gets its name due to its resemblance to the canine wolf species, as it has huge sharp teeth, a strong jaw, and overall predator-like appearance. But it is sometimes referred to as the devilfish for its terrifying face. Now, unlike the wolffish is actually a lone hunter, and in the cold waters of the Arctic has evolved to produce antifreeze proteins which circulate in the blood to keep its body functioning in the unruly temperatures. But despite this incredible evolution, the wolfish does not actually have a swim bladder, meaning it has to keep swimming at all times or the sheer weight of itself would cause it to sink. Unfortunately, the wolfish is at a high risk of extinction due to overfishing, so considering that, I think it's best we leave this scary creature in the depths of the sea where it belongs. Coming in at number 5, an unknown cartilage fish. There is creepy, there is horrifying, and then there is just straight up strange. Found by a Russian fisherman, Roman Fedorstov, we have truly no clue what it is or anything about it. All we can tell is that it's entirely made of cartilage, and due to that, it's almost completely translucent. The fish has small, spiny teeth, small eyes, and a gooey, jelly-like inside that if you look at it for too long, you kinda just start to feel a little woozy. The unnamed creature is truly an oddity of the sea, and I could have gone the rest of my life without knowing of this alien specimen, but since I had to see it, now so do you. After its capture, the fisherman took to his Instagram to share his gruesome find with the world, and whatever it is, it's not something I ever want to come face to face with in the water. Next up at number 4, the frilled shark. Though it is referred to as a shark by name, it is really more of an ancient prehistoric serpent that should have never been found. It gets its name from the fringy gills along its body, and it has been recorded to measure as much as 7 feet in length. But the worst part is the 300 tiny razor-sharp teeth that line its wide-hinging jaw. I mean, just imagine that bite. Ugh. Oh, and if that wasn't enough, it's covered in tiny chiseled scales that can cut you if you aren't too careful. The mysterious animal is known to lurk at the bottom of the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, although it will rise up higher at night to feed before returning once again to its deep, dark habitat during the day. But don't worry, they don't swim up high enough to affect your midnight swim. Coming up next in our number 3 spot, the goblin shark. You may have heard of this rare species of deep sea shark, but if you haven't, you are in for a ride. Often referred to as living fossils due to their 125 million year existence, the goblin shark is truly a terrifying sight. And if the thought of a dinosaur shark didn't scare you, to make matters worse, these creatures can grow to be as much as 20 feet in length and weigh 450 pounds. Famously known to have slimy pink skin and a huge protruding snout, it gets its name for looking so much like, well, like a goblin, but contrasted by its huge snout or its teeny tiny little needle teeth. But don't let them fool you, as it can completely unhinge its jaw while feeding. Despite its notoriety, researchers know very little about this rare specimen, as it is presumed to be just naturally uncommon. But truth be told, I am glad there aren't thousands of these lurking in the waters, or I may never want to set foot in the ocean again. Coming in our number 2 spot, squid sulcus. First discovered in 2007 by a German research vessel in the southern Atlantic Ocean, this tiny 1-inch creature freaked out everyone at first. Armed with 8 legs and 2 huge tentacles. Well, I mean, proportionally speaking, it is only about an inch big after all. The part that shocked the world was what looked eerily similar to a set of human teeth. It's like something straight out of a science fiction movie. I mean, you can't tell me that it's not creepy to see what looks like a set of dentures on a miniature squid. But truth be told, despite how it looks, it's not actually teeth at all that we're seeing, but small, round, folded lips that we can only see a small part of. Like other squids, it has a sharp beak inside that it uses to catch and eat prey, and to date, it is the only one of its kind discovered, so let's just hope it stays that way. And last up, in our number 1 spot, the sarcastic fringe head. Although its name sounds like some kind of bad 90s grunge band, the sarcastic fringe head is actually a highly aggressive creature that resembles what can only be described as a real-life demogorgon. Found off the west coast of North America, they are extremely territorial and are able to fully fan out their jaws, exposing a row of razor-sharp teeth to scare off and intimidate others of its kind in hopes to get the best piece of turf. The bigger the better when it comes to the mouth of the sarcastic fringe head, but if the sheer size of their mouth doesn't work, they will actually slam their faces together and essentially mouth wrestle to get the job done. However, in a complete 180, it is actually the males that are the care providers, as once a female lays her eggs, she will leave immediately and the male will guard them until they are hatched. Whether their extreme aggression is about getting the best home or protecting their eggs, I never want to come near one of these terrifying creatures for as long as I live.
Kicking off our list at number 10, a 16-foot sea monster. Okay, here we go. I saw this one on TikTok. A lot of users were calling to build the ark after this one was caught, and quite frankly, I agree. I'm never swimming again. Right off the coast of Chile, this creature, 16 feet long, might I remind you, it was found, and apparently it's a bad omen. To even see this colossal oarfish in the wild means a tsunami or an earthquake is on its way. Good. We love good omens in this house. This ugly lad got over 10 million views on TikTok. He lives in Arica, Chile. Let's see if we can get him verified by the new year. I kind of love him. I love how in the photo too, everybody is in shock. That's real fear in everyone's face right there. They're like, where did this come from? Sorry, what? They all see a Zelda boss just hanging in front of them. Nice. There's one guy in the photo who's like, he has his camera out and he's not even pointing at the fish. He's just like, just completely baffled. Number 9, a long-nosed chimera. I have a long nose. Nothing like this guy, but pretty, it's alright, I don't know. A Canadian lad caught this next one. His name is Scott Turner and he's from Nova Scotia. Back in 2016, he was deep water fishing and he had no idea what the hell he caught. And to be fair, I still have no idea, and I wrote this thing and I'm looking at it. A fishing trawler off the coast of Newfoundland hauled this up. California Academy of Sciences says chimeras are a group of scary fish that branched off from even scarier sharks nearly 400 million years ago. So they're massive for a reason. They have, they have large cousins. It runs in the genes, I guess. Their genes run in the family. They're all jacked and scary, I guess. Crew members aboard the Canadian trawler in their late 50s and early 60s, they've done this their whole lives, okay? They fished their entire lives. They've only seen this maybe once in their entire career. Yeah, some deep sea horrors for you on this fine August evening. Hit that thumbs up. We're well on our way. Let's keep it going. Number 8, not a fish. Okay, sometimes you catch something that's not meant to be caught on water or on land. You don't want to catch this one. A hand explosive was reeled in. Yeah, the guy caught a military, one of those. He reeled one of those in. One of those things you use in James Bond where we always, miss. And we're like, didn't hit them all. The guy reeled in a military explosive, but he kept calm. He called the police. They came in and they were also baffled. They're like, how did you catch this? Did it pull? Did it put up a fight? What's going on? How did this hand-sized weapon make it into this little Calumet river? Or when? Zero idea. This is a common discovery in rivers. A lot of people do what's called magnetic fishing. They try and find old-timey weapons. So some European countries actually ban the sport because they don't want anybody pulling an Indiana river. Imagine reeling in something bigger from World War II, like a bigger, you get it, horrible. Number 7, Cyclops shark. Oh, I love this guy, he's so cute. Back in 1933, Dr. Thomas Hall Shasted explained in an article that the future of humans will be Cyclops, okay? They only need one eye. The human eye originally evolved to see far into the distance, but as the modern human reads, writes, repairs watches, cuts gems, swipes on Tinder, everything close up, we might just need one eye. See you later, IMAX 3D. Sorry, James Cameron, guess I'll miss that one. Well, this next catch is perfect for that future. The shark with one eye. Is he real? Is he? Help. The Cyclops shark. We saw him in 2015. You might remember him. The shark was removed from a pregnant dusky shark caught by commercial fishermen in the Gulf of California. Shark researchers have examined the preserved creature and found that its single eye is made of functional optical tissue. So it's normal, I guess, in a way, but it wouldn't have survived the conditions of the real world. Less than 50 of these abnormalities have been recorded in history ever. So there you go. 49 left to see with your one eye. Number 6, ancient antlers. Again, it's odd to find something that's not a fish, like say a World War II weapon, or say some antlers. Yeah, at first you'd think you caught a fish, but in reality it could be the antlers of a 10,000-year-old giant elk. Either one, who knows? May the odds be ever in your favor. The shape, the weight, the resistance of the water, I would fully believe that I caught a massive fish. It's like moving around with the current. I'm like, oh, what is this? No, he didn't catch any fish this time, just ancient history. Turns out when you're fishing in a local lake in Ireland, anything's possible. Just don't pull out Nessie, please. please, we don't want to pull out Nessie. Number 5, black marlin. Okay, for our halfway point, I need to show you the best thing that I've ever seen online. Everybody is okay in this video, first of all. Just gonna start off by saying that, okay? Great. Back in 2012, a black marlin off Cairns, Australia, jumped and landed aboard the Little Audrey. It's great. I mean, I feel bad for the fish, of course, but it's a great clip. Check it out. Sometimes you don't have to fish. Sometimes a fish will just appear. A nice 600-pound fish will sometimes jump in your boat. How scary must that be? So the fish jumps in and then throws a seat at another fisherman before going back into the water. How amazing is this? Check the guy out on the far right. He gets his head bonked by a chair because a fish hucked a chair at him. Honey, what happened to your head? Oh, a black marlin hucked a chair at me. Yeah, it was fun. He's like, yeah, I was f***ing with it though. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of deserved it. I deserved the chair. I'm okay. Number 4, Chuck Lagoon. This lagoon was Japan's main base during the war, but come 1944, the United States launched an attack, which some still deem as Japan's Pearl Harbor. So now there's 60 ships that have sunken down, and there's around 250 planes all lying in the water. It's a graveyard. So for 70 years, there's been this massive graveyard just sitting in the Pacific, and it wasn't until recently we finally got a good look at these haunting artifacts. Thanks to deep sea divers and fishers. Yeah, thanks for hanging out in scary waters. I appreciate you. I don't like to swim in lakes, so you're so brave. Terrifying. These photos are terrifying. These fishermen have described the atmosphere, filled with, gas mask, bullet, and of course bones, as extremely haunting. Nobody was expecting these artifacts to be that well preserved either after all this time. But photos now serve as a haunting reminder of naval warfare. Number 3, deep sea anglerfish. Living at depths of over 6,000 feet, the deep sea anglerfish hunts in complete darkness. We should have never seen these fish, but unfortunately, now thanks to me, you have to. It was first discovered back in 1833 when a Greenland fisherman saw the horror up close after it washed up along the shore. They then took it to Denmark, where it was first referred to as the football fish or the man gobbler. Both great names. One's a little f***ed up, the other is kind of cool, but both great names. Female anglerfish have a glowing lure on top of their head. It's awesome and it's scary. And it's something I'm glad hides at the bottom of our ocean, if I'm being honest. This light here is created due to bioluminescent bacteria. Thousands of fish have it, and the deep sea anglerfish uses it in front of its face to hunt. Yeah, it draws in fish right in front of its massive, scary mouth. That's its main method of hunting. It has to be dazzling because, well, look at it. It's certainly not fast, definitely lacks speed and agility. Plus, living in complete darkness, they have to move slowly and rely on their senses to hunt. And as for prey, well, she'll take what she can get, no matter how big. I hope we never catch another one of these. Please stay deep and stay mysterious. Stay down, I'm good. Number 2, an eyeball. Back in 2012, this ball of yuck was found by a Florida fisherman. The classic insane Florida headline, here we go. Right on cue. The eye was the size of a softball, and for a while, beachgoers were speculating what monster it could belong to. The state's Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission determined that the eye belonged to a swordfish. And given the straight cuts on the eye, it's clear that an angler cut it out and then threw it like a shot put back in the water. How horrible is that? Awful for the fish, but also, if you found this, that would be so jarring. I'm just reeling in and being like, oh, what's that? An eye. I'm out. I am out. And finally, number 1, Vala jellyfish. It's not uncommon to find a jellyfish or two while fishing, certainly not. But what about while you're fishing from the beach? That's a little bit odd. Especially when they arrive in, I don't know, the hundreds. These specific jellyfish called Vala are so light that the wind will push them all to shore eventually. How sad is that? Yeah, they didn't make the UFC weigh in, so now they're getting kicked out of the ocean. All they gotta do is eat a little bit more food. That's it. Hundreds of these little guys, 3 to 6 times a year, will just get blown out of the water. What a horrible way to go. That's like us being blown into the sea slowly. I'd be like, help, please? They're blue and beautiful and only about 8 centimeters long. And back in 2014, thousands of these Vala jellyfish washed along the shore along the northwest side of the United States. They look not as great when they're on shore and dead. They look like gross deflated balloons. And again, 3 years later, thousands more wash ashore again. Little haunting. They're also referred to as by-the-wind sailors because they have a little sail that pokes above the water, kind of like a shark. They have a little sail. And their tentacles will hang underneath the surface, so they'll literally go wherever the wind blows them. How cute is that? They have a little sailor hat. Yeah, we had to finish on a nice cute note. Little fish with sailor hats. That's a little better than whatever the fish that was earlier. Yuck.